fixing my hair or something.
I know it's always like that, right?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. We are live. As you can tell, we're hanging out backstage and we're talking travel and how much we both love Italy. So we both need our fix, right?
Yep.
Welcome to the Talking into Profit show, where we bring together experts in their niche and have a conversation on a topic that I know both me and you are interested in learning more about. This is your chance to show up and pick the brains. By the way, am I the only one who cringes over that saying? I mean, I just get the vision of zombies eating your brain.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, yes, it's your chance to show up, get your questions answered by some experts. So if anyone is here, drop it in the comments. Let us know you're here. You're hearing us okay, and we are coming through, and we're going to dive into all of this. And also be prepared. Drop your thoughts, your questions, things into the comments, because we'd love to have you join the conversation as well. So be aware, though, we do have a little bit of lag before we see them. So while we'll make sure we get them answered, we might not see them immediately. But we do want you to be part of the conversation as well. And today I am talking to my kick-ass guest, Adriana Tika. I've been so jolting for this one. Thank you so much for joining me. I know, it was like, I told her when I invited her, I said, I was so nervous to ask you.
Oh,
And I was.
why? Why do I come across as unapproachable? Because I don't want to be that.
No, not at all. But you're kind of fangirling just a little bit, and you're just like, is she going to say yes? And then I was like, fuck it. I'm just going big this year. I'm inviting anybody I just actually want to talk to. And you were one of those people. So I put it out. Of course, you said yes. It was awesome. But welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm thrilled, excited to have you here. I know we're having a conversation today about something that I know you feel pretty passionate about as well. So, for all of you who don't know Adriana, she is a marketing strategist, writer, trend analysis with 17 plus years in the field. And she writes the ideas to power your future email. Totally recommend it, guys. It teaches you how to grow your business without bro hacks or selling your soul to the social media dark lords. That is exactly what she teaches. And then she gave me a fun fact. You said you want to be a sommelier one day.
Yes. I love wine and I love food, so that would be like the dream job for me. Although, when you turn your passion into a job, you start liking it as much as you used to. So, this is one of the reasons why I'm not in such a hurry to get my certification.
Yeah, wow. So what's your favorite wine at this point?
Barolo, always.
Nice.
Italy.
Yeah, mine too. One of mine is Sangiovese from Tuscan region. I love a
Yeah.
good Sangiovese.
Yeah. And Nero d'Avola from further down south, especially if they prepare the grapes through appassimento, they let them dry in the sun a little bit, so the wine gets to be a bit more juicy and more fruity, but it's not sweet. It's just very, very tasty. Mhm.
Nice. Okay. We could talk food and wine all day. Can we just change the show, guys? Would anybody have a problem if we just change this show? Seriously, though, today, don't forget to connect and follow Adriana. If you aren't already, go over there, ring her bell, and do get signed up for her newsletter. It is one of the few, and guys, I only read a handful of them weekly, but hers is one of the few I read without fail. So if you are not on her email list, make sure you get over there. And if we haven't connected yet, don't forget to drop me a connection request, hit follow, ring my bell as well. So let's dive in here. Today, we are talking about dumping the shame or justifying your worth and talking about money. I know, especially women talking about money. Who here is ready to stop apologizing for wanting to know more? I mean, more anything, whether it's money, clients, $1 million business. I mean, you're ready to give the middle finger to anything that justifies why you want it and why it's no one else's business. Let me know in the comments if that's you guys, because I know it's me. and I know Adriana is the same way on this. What got you so passionate on that topic besides just being a woman? I mean, not that there's just a woman, but you know what I mean.
Um, it was definitely hearing the way my women friends talk about money. If they want to get a promotion, if they want to get paid more, they always say, "Oh, because we need the money and we as the family," or because I have a kid now and I need to provide for the kid and so on. And every time someone said they wanted more money, they had to give a why. It wasn't always because, oh, I want to travel more, or I want that damn expensive bag, I want those red soled shoes. You know, these things seem to make you feel guilty. On the other hand, if you talk to a man, it's something natural. You wouldn't even bother to ask them why do you want more money. They just do. It's sort of in the nature of things. Whereas for us, we have to come up with these silly excuses. We can't just want something for ourselves. There has to be a higher purpose. And I'm not saying higher purposes are bad. If of course, you want to provide for your family first. Maybe you want to donate to a charity you're super passionate about. But there's absolutely nothing wrong in wanting things for yourself and financial comfort,
I
after all.
agree 100% with you, as you know. I mean, it's like I'm wanting right now, I'm going to fully admit, I want to grow Talk to Heidi into $1 million plus business. I'm putting that out there to the universe. And Beth is here with us from Virginia. She's ready to stop apologizing about wanting monetary success as well. But I so agree with you. I mean, it does seem like
I bet.
anytime a woman says, well, I want this, then there's the, okay, but this is why I want it. We got to give a nice reason why we want it instead of, like you said, we want the Red Hills shoes or I want to fly first class. My knees hurt when I fly in coach. I'm just like at the point of fuck that.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, you travel, so I know you get it on that one.
I do, and I know you know Ryanair because you're based in Europe, and Ryanair, I mean, it sucks. It gets you there, and it's super cheap, but it sucks. And if I can avoid Ryanair, I want to do
Same,
that.
or EasyJet. As much as, hey, I am very grateful for all those airlines. I don't want to put it out to them that I'm not. I'm very grateful. They've got me to a lot of places on both of them. But I gotta say, if I could fly first class on another airline, I would be. All the
Yeah, if they, in their defense, they also have great routes. So, whenever I was looking at a regular flight, not a low cost flight, I couldn't find the direct flight to where I wanted to go. So,
Yeah, it
here we
is
go.
true. They fly to those places other airlines don't fly. So, yeah, look at I've had some great flights with them. So, it's very, very true. So, let's see. Beth says we have to justify it, or people say you want prosperity, but not just for the money, right?
I mean, in a way, yeah, right. I don't particularly enjoy just counting the money, but I want to do stuff with it. I know it's not a means to an end. I mean, it is a means to an end. It's not a money is not a purpose in itself. But that doesn't mean that the purpose has to be higher
Hmm.
than life.
Yeah. I agree, but I mean, I do feel like we don't need to put a nice reason with it all the time. It's like, oh, I got to put my kids through school, or I got to pay for the bills, or you know what I mean. Why it can be for the luxuries, or we just want to grow wealth too. I mean, invest and grow. So all of that lovely, lovely stuff. So we don't have to. But yeah, so we are going to dive into our point number one today, which is to why do we feel the need to justify what we're going to do with our money? What is your thoughts on that?
I think it goes back to women usually being tied to the house, to being responsible for the household. This is something that used to fall on them, and it still does to a really high degree. We're the ones who manage the house. We're the ones who take care of the kids. So naturally, our first priority is making sure that the house is warm, is stocked with food, is the kids are all right, they're clothed, they're fed, and so on. And it's something so ingrained into our mindset that we find it hard to say, "Hey, everyone's taken care of. I'm gonna go travel. I'm gonna go get a massage. I'm gonna do something for myself." We always have to find excuses. I go for a massage when I'm super tired or when I have some muscular tension that I need to take care of. It's never just for the sake of it, as Oscar Wilde used to say, art for art's sake. And this is what I actually want to see more women who are unapologetic about wanting a comfortable life, whatever that may mean for them. For people like us, maybe it's a better bottle of wine. For others, maybe it's something entirely different. I mean, you do you, but do it
Yes, I
unapologetically.
agree. I mean, go for those little things that really light you up because I mean, I'm guilty of this. I will put everybody else first and buy for them first. And I mean, I love spoiling my people. I do. But at the end of the day, I've also had to learn to spoil myself too. And the same way I spoil them. But it took a while because I mean, it was everything the way I was raised in the southern US, and as women there we take a step back to men, we take a step back to the family, women are always last, and I know that's the way it is mostly around the world, but you're also in a culture where it is considered vulgar for women to even talk about money or to even want money and all of that, and it's been, I have to say, some roadblocks getting over the idea that I want to be a successful business owner and I want to make money just because there's cool things I want to do in life.
Exactly. And it's also messed up because there was a time when women didn't make their own money. They never worked outside of the house, and these household chores were never paid. Although we know they have monetary value, but at the same time, they did manage the finances of the house, and in many ways, they had a better financial acumen than the men, who just gave the women part of their salary and say, "Hey, here, buy food, pay for the heating, and feed the kids." And yeah.
Yeah, I know. But look at us today. I mean, we've become so modernized. Women are in power positions in companies. We're in power positions running our own businesses. And yet we're still justifying earning money.
Yeah, because there aren't that as many women as we think in power positions. Like yeah, we've come pretty far along. That's true. But if you look at most companies, you will find a lot of women in middle management positions, especially in those companies who want to show that they do not discriminate based on gender. But at the very top, there are still
Yeah.
very few women. So if you're talking C-level positions, it's still something that's widely dominated by
Yes, and
men.
it seems like when women even want to compete for the, and I have to say compete in this case because it's the truth, then they also get tagged with very unattractive names. And so, I mean, it was funny. I just got off a call a minute ago with someone, and we were talking. She said, "Braggalicious bitch," and I was like, "Yep, that's kind of how they get that name gets called a lot when it comes to women who are actually reaching up into those spaces." And yeah, I mean, Beth here makes a very good, because she's like, do men get questioned when they say they're ambitious or want to earn a lot of money? Maybe, but not nearly as much as women. And I mean, that's exactly the point. If a woman's ambitious, then all of a sudden she's called all kinds of names and put down. And I mean, I even see it on social media and stuff. You get in the comments. Oh my God, the comments can get ugly quick, right?
Yep. They can get ugly, they can get pervy, and a man is ambitious and determined. A woman is, let's say it, a bitch if she's decisive.
Yep.
So
Hey, we're changing all of that. We've got a question from David here. He wants to know, when it came to increasing your wealth and just breaking free of like money shame and this need to justify it, how has all that changed for you from 17 years ago when you started this particular journey to today?
oh, that's a trip down memory lane. So I started my first business, which is a digital marketing agency out of the sheer need to make ends meet. The company I was working on at was going belly up, and we all knew that. So I started freelancing on the side just to make sure I have something to keep me afloat until I can find a better job. And I found several other jobs, two of them actually. They were both horrible. And at some point, I realized I was making more money from my side gigs than from my horrible jobs. So uh, I I decided to stop looking for a job. In fact, it was after I tried once again. I went through a very long series of interviews, very technical interviews. I was also almost given the go ahead until I had to meet with the CEO. The CEO called me in very, very early. He showed up late and he asked me all those weird questions like, if you caught a golden fish, what would you ask of it? And how would you dig a 2x2 hole? And all sorts of crap. And I lost my patience at some point. He saw that and I didn't get the job. But on the taxi ride back, I called a company and asked them, what do you need from me so I can start my own company? I didn't want to apply to another job. I was so determined. I sent them the paperwork that day and I went full in on my agency. So since then, when I started my agency, I was very, very scared of money, or more precisely, of not making money because um, I was accustomed to having a salary, but now I had to pay taxes on my own. I had to make sure there's enough profit for me to live on, and so on. I think my biggest blocker was the mindset. I had to take any job, any client, just because I had taxes to pay, and well, I had to make ends meet without a salary that comes every month, no matter what. This almost actually killed my first business because I ended up onboarding a ton of really ill-fit clients. I didn't have time to look for right fit
Yeah.
clients, but I woke up from this nightmare within 3 months or so, and I changed things around and I put my foot down and I say, okay, there's plenty of money in my bank account. I don't need to be scared anymore. I can do things the way I want to do them. I want a real agency, not a content mill. So I think partly this came from the regular attitude around money, that you're scared of not making ends meet, and it takes a bit of time until you're ready to level up and look beyond making ends
Yeah.
meet.
It's quite a journey with that and all too. I mean, and it is a journey. I mean, to go from, yeah, I'm going to take any job just to pay the bills because it is a mindset. I mean, somebody else isn't guaranteed a check in your account every so often, a couple of weeks.
Exactly.
And you,
This is why I I try to be very understanding with people who aren't in a rush to increase their prices, or they don't go exactly for the thing they want. They take the time to build a solid foundation. I know it's very easy when you reach a certain point to tell beginners, no, raise your prices, ditch the clients you don't like. In real
no.
life, it's not that easy though. You don't know that you'll find a client to replace the one you ditched because they were a jerk. So uh, before I go on a rant against blanket advice that doesn't apply to everyone or mostly to no one, I'm gonna shut up. That's a different topic for a
But it's
different day.
true. I mean, your point you made is true because we all see these posts and advice. I mean, you see somebody and they leave two sentences and then all the advice in the comments from other experts is, oh my God, raise your prices, dump that client, do this, or, leave that particular job or whatever. And it's like, did you ask questions about the situation before you just threw that advice out there? And I mean, because you
Yeah.
don't know, everybody's different. And on top of that, I mean, when you're just getting started building in the business, most of us have bills to pay. So maybe you are working for way lower than you're worth for a while. I started out that way. I mean, when I jumped into coaching, my first coaching clients, I mean, I was charging $300 for 3 months with me, 1-to-1, once a week. I mean, that was that was a lot of work for not a lot of
Mhm.
money.
Oh. I used to do articles for $10 a pop. So, and that was before AI. I
Oh
wrote them
yeah,
all
same,
manually. So,
same. I started out at 4 cents a word, and I was thrilled when I got a job that was paying me 25 bucks an article at first, and then went up from there. But yeah, that first job, I'm still so grateful for it because I learned so much. I mean, I don't know about you and your first one, but my first
yeah.
one, I was doing the ones where you're keyword stuffing them for SEO at that point. Oh,
Yeah.
it was it
Yeah, me
was
too.
it was
I'm
painful.
so glad
It was
that's
so
over.
painful.
Yeah, I know. I think I wrote like 500 articles about wedding dresses, which resulted in me not getting one because I hated them with a passion. I just wanted a regular dress when I get married,
Oh
you
no.
know?
But you know what? We started
Yeah.
somewhere. And I mean, I do. I see so many, because since we both have the writing background, I see so many people are like, oh, don't take less than this and this for an art. And I'm like, you know what? That's a beginner. And yeah, those jobs sucked. We all did them. But the confidence I gained from getting them, the knowledge I learned, that got me to the point where, yeah, I was being paid 1,000 bucks a blog post, or more, or something like that. But I couldn't have done it without that beginning knowledge. So we had to start somewhere.
Exactly. And more importantly, you don't know what someone else is going through at the time. Maybe those $100 per article they can get right now, it's their lifeline. Maybe they have an actual family to feed, and they need to do it, and maybe they don't need your advice about starting a real business and stop selling your time to a corporate overlord because, much as I personally don't want to go back to a regular job because I like my lifestyle now, but I understand why it doesn't fit anyone and why some people need the safety and the security of a regular job. That doesn't make them any less worthy
I
than an
agree. And I keep
entrepreneur.
reminding people that you're growing a business, you're gonna need employees one day. So don't be shaming people for being employees. Because some people don't want to run a business, and that's okay. And then there's the flip side of
Yeah.
that too, even on business owners. I mean, bringing it back to shaming and guilting people about money. Just because they take a low paying job, yeah, we don't know their situation. We don't know. They might be taking it just to feed the kids or get by or whatever. And people got to do what they got to do. We need to stop shaming people about money, because that's even what the whole thing about this show is about, is not having to justify that you want money and not having to feel guilty and shame for whatever it is. So,
Yep.
let's see. Jesse said Tuscan wine sounds lovely. Oh, it is. Umbrian wine is too. That's actually my favorite.
Mm.
But Beth says, I even say some of this stuff to myself. I was raised with women nurture, men provide. So I say, or my inner critic says, those things to myself, those names. I tell everybody nobody else can be a worse critic than I am to myself. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all of us, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. And speaking of jobs versus entrepreneurship, I am the worst boss I've ever had. I mean, I am so hard to please.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I can only think of one boss I had that was worse, and it was just a bad situation. But I am tough on myself.
Hmm.
There's no doubt on that one. So, if you were going to, what would you say about increasing wealth and leveraging it to create positive change in all of this right now?
Mm. I think there are two aspects to this. When you say positive change, you can talk about the world or you can talk about change in your life. Um, I don't want to sound selfish, but I think it usually has to start with you because if you start with creating change around you, at some point you're going to start to resent the people or the causes you invest so much in without investing in yourself first. And you know what they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. What was it? You can't pour from an empty something. Um, so yeah, I think whatever your priorities are, whether you're looking to make a bigger difference in the world or whether you're just selfishly looking to build wealth for yourself, and I say selfishly as a good thing. Um, I think you should own it, and as long as it's your money, you've worked for it, you don't
I
have to answer to
agree,
anyone.
and yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it's selfish either. I mean, taking care of yourself. I mean, we all have heard the cliche, "Put the airplane mask on yourself first," but it's true with money and taking care of yourself first. A lot of people feel guilty about it, but don't, because if you're not taking care of you, then you're stressed out. You're upset. It's hard for you to take care of the people around you, whether it's your kids, your family, your clients, all of that. So if you're not doing that, then you do. You run the cup dry, right? So
Exactly. And I remember in my first business how long it took me, because again, I was scared I wouldn't be able to make the business work, and how long it took me to invest in tools. For instance, we were doing social media for clients, social media management, and I spent months logging in and out of dozens of Facebook accounts every day before I said, hey, okay, enough's enough. I'm going to invest in a social media management tool. I can't do this anymore. And as expected, it didn't just make my job easier, it also allowed me to get more clients because I had more free time. Time that I didn't spend doing menial work and double checking that I'm posting on the right account, or asking for the password because my browser didn't save it, and so
yeah.
on.
So what was your first tool that you did that with, out of curiosity?
Sendable. I was with Sendable for 8 years or so. I
Yeah,
really loved
I
that
didn't
tool.
get around to playing with that one. Mine was Buffer.
Oh, I know it. I chose Sendable and not Buffer because at the time I had a really big client who wanted Pinterest management. And at the time, Sendable was the only one who had a Pinterest integration. So my choice was
Yeah,
was easy. But it also helped that they had built a great tool. I know the initial owners sold it eventually. I don't know how good it is now, but back then I really had zero complaints. Their support was always on time. They were super gracious and helpful every time. So it was a
yeah.
great
And I
tool.
mean, tools just they save it like that, give us so much time back. Out of curiosity, are you using one now on LinkedIn? Or yeah, using
No, I have an account with Publer right now. It's a free account, but I always forget to use it.
I'm
So
using the native. I'm like, I've gotten easy enough using it. It's like, why take the hit? But it's still one of those things. And then someday I'm spreading all out a little bit more, and I'm like, it's maybe time to get another tool. So
yeah.
we had a comment that came in from the content from Brianna. She said it's so important to embrace our authenticity and share what resonates with us and our audience without feeling the need to justify it. Thank you for the reminder to stop playing small and to confidently own our decisions. And Brianna, by the way, she's a kick ass financial advisor. So she knows about managing money for people. Yeah. And everyone, just so you know, this show is cast live each week to both LinkedIn and YouTube. Thank you, everybody who's here with us live on LinkedIn right now. So if you can't make it live, though, I know we had a lot of you say attending but couldn't make it live. We recommend you watch the show or any of the past shows over on YouTube. Aren't subscribed yet, it's at Talk to Heidi Medina over there. We will drop the link in the comments, but you can also get notified of our upcoming lives over there and get all the replays for these shows are over there. And it's so much easier because they're on a playlist for you already. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Which leads me to why women feel compelled to, I mean, we've already kind of been getting around this, but why do we feel compelled to actually justify our financial goals overall? We've been talking about money and this kind of stuff. So like me, I wanted to build this to $1 million plus business, but and every time I say that, don't get me wrong, I'm loving it, but at the same time I do go a little bit like, ooh, just a little bit. Yeah, and there was got to be that limiting belief and that belief system, of course. But what else can we do a better question: what possibilities open up for us when we actually own that and go for it?
I think that if you own it as an actual goal, not just a distant dream, you're going to start to work towards it. You're not just going to dream of it. Maybe it will happen one day. You're going to break it down into smaller steps, and you're going to see, hey, I want to have $1 million business. Okay, what is a reasonable time frame for me to achieve that? Maybe it's a year, maybe it's 10 years. What do I need to do this year to get a bit closer to that goal? And because you mentioned justification, I think that the only justification we need to do is to ourselves. Like, why $1 million? Why not $2 million? Why not 500,000? This is something I ask myself often when I think about my own financial goals, because I want to make sure that I'm not just trying to get money for money's sake. I try to assess my lifestyle and figure out an amount that would make my lifestyle, that would how do I put this? That would help me live the lifestyle that I want with ease and without concern for tomorrow. And so this is how I build my financial goals in a way. I don't necessarily want to hit a round number or make it 7 figures, 8 figures, 10 figures. But I want to make sure that um, I live the life that I want to live. And that's pretty much it for me. It's the only justification that
Yeah,
I
I
need.
agree with you on that. Mine is to support, and it's I just say a million plus. My husband said something the other day, David. He said he was talking about how we want to work with people who have $1 million mindset. And it's not saying they have to want $1 million, but he's saying they got that go getting.
Hmm.
They're going for whatever their dreams are. Whatever the lifestyle is they're looking for, and that's what I'm wanting to. And I'm going to be flat out honest. I come from an entrepreneur background. I don't have a big 401k sitting there. And I turned 50 this past year. And I started thinking, what are you going to do when you retire? And all of a sudden it was like, it's time to build a business with some much bigger financial goals. And that's my motivation right now because I want to be able to travel. I want to fly first class. I want to stay in cool places, come visit you over there in Romania. Or let's meet in Italy and have wine and food.
Oh
But
yeah.
I want to be able to make
Mm.
these kind of plans and not have to stress that I can do them, a little later in life. And I want to be able to buy a house. And since my first marriage, I haven't owned my own home. My husband now and we've always rented. So I'd like to own our own home. I mean, there's things that bigger goal at this point for me makes sense.
Yeah. The same for me. I want a bigger house. I want to be able to travel, and also I want to be able to travel without penny pinching for every trip, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And you want to stay in the nice places or go do the cool things and all that. So I totally get it.
Hmm.
And why not? Why can't you have those things? And you can, and that's just it. You can. And why do you got to worry about justifying it to everybody else? Yeah, that's it. The
I
siren.
think
Yeah, we always end up with one siren at least through my live shows. It's live, guys. It happens.
yeah.
So, what daily practices? I know I've got a bunch of mindset practices I do every day, but what do you do? Do you have a daily practice that you use to help reinforce abundant money mindset or just to reinforce your mindset in general?
I don't have a practice around money mindset. I do have very firm beliefs, as you've already seen, but what I do for my mental health and for my mindset in general is keep a Crusoe journal of sorts where every day I write down a single good thing that happened that day. It can be personal, it can be business related, but it helps me put things into perspective. And what I love about this practice is that when I first started it many years ago, I found it super hard to find one thing that went well that day because I was always looking for something extraordinary. After a couple of days, it got easier, and after a couple more days, it became hard to find a single thing. Sometimes they're trivial things, like I tried a new type of cheese and I loved it. And I know it sounds super commonplace and maybe boring, but if you're a cheese lover like me, it's not. I mean, it really made my day, you know? And this also helped me understand that in both business and life, it's the tiny steps that compound into big leaps. You don't have to wait to make $1 million out of a single client or a single deal, right? That's probably not going to happen. But with a well thought out suite of products and services, you can get
Yeah.
there.
No, I'm the same way. I mean, it took a while too because I'm like you. When I first started doing the mindset work, I thought it had to be the big things that were your wins, you know? And then I've even had sometimes when I write down in my journal the things I write down three things I'm grateful for that day. And sometimes it's just getting out of bed and actually getting to work in front of the computer. Sometimes that was the win of the day, you know? So it doesn't have to be huge. And then like I was on Beth Ann Campbell here has the Thirsty Professional. It's a podcast show she does on Fridays. And this past Friday she had me on as a guest. And I was talking about my gratitude strategy that I started implementing 2 years ago into my actual marketing strategy and how much that's changed the whole feeling of social media for me. Because I used to have some of those days. You probably been there. We've all been there. Been on social media where you just hate life on social media sometimes. And I really started just implementing gratitude towards it, and it has just really become a place of even more joy for me. Just
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice.
it's such a different experience. I share the link with you later on the episode from last week, but it came out really well. But yeah, but just stuff like because we get so many cold pitches in DM. And for a while, I was getting so angry about it because, of course, I want to see more of other things in there, not the cold pitches. And then finally, I was sitting there one day and I was like, why am I getting upset about this? I sit here and help people get visible. I help them get out there in their marketing. And yet, these people, while I don't like their cold pitches, they're still doing it. And do you know how many people sit back and don't do it and say they want it, but they don't go for it? So I just started. Everybody who sends me a cold pitch gets a polite no thank you most of the time. Every now and then somebody sends me a good enough pitch, I'll at least have the conversation with them. But pretty much everybody else gets a polite no thank you. I bless you, goodbye, and but I still celebrate they put themselves out there, and it's made me not hate my DMs. So
That's an interesting reframe. I admit I have a a love-hate relationship with social media as well for many, many reasons. I haven't gotten that many cold pitches in the DMs lately, which I'm grateful for. Speaking of gratitude. Um, However, I'm with you. When I do get them, if it's not something that's absolutely horrendous and obviously automated, I will answer that person. You know, if they took the time to go through my profile and write in even a smidge of personalization, okay, you tried your best. This is not the right time for me. This is not the right service for me. So no, thank you. But if it's clearly a canned automated message, I had some that started with "Hey bro," I decided not to
yeah.
answer those.
Yeah, and I don't blame you. I mean, I've been considering which one, if I'm going to change that practice, but I've been doing it 2 years now. It takes me a second to write a no thank you to all of them, and I just, go away, but kind of thing. But I do still celebrate because I'm just like, somebody put themselves out there. A lot of people struggle with selling. And so I just started celebrating it, and it just adjusted my attitude so much over it. It was a big thing. Beth dropped the link in the comments for everybody if you'd like to see that. It was a fun episode, and yeah, it was a blast. It was total blast. So
I can see why she said you set the bar on guest appearances. Yep, I already opened it in another tab for a later listen. Oh, it started
I do.
playing.
I
Okay.
love doing these shows. I love guesting on shows. So I do. I show up, but it was a good that we had it going. Beth, you and I had it going on that one. Just like we got it going here. Um, so,
Oh my God, Beth, I love your hat. I love the steampunk hat.
Her hat is named
It's
Miss Betty
gorgeous.
Arbuckle. It's got its own name.
Of course it does. Like any gorgeous thing should. I love that.
You two are going to have to catch up. You're going. I could tell. So, when we're talking about all of this, do you have any practical strategies for people to increase their wealth while keeping that sleaze out, not selling their soul to the dark lords? No, like we don't have to do the cold pitching in DM. You and I both agree on that one. You don't have to be the bro marketer. Oh, have you heard the new hustle for 2025 yet? You don't have to get up at 2 a.m., the new 4 a.m. for the hustle bros in 2025 to make a buck. What strategies do you got that keep us out of that?
Oh, oh, I love to sleep in, so I won't wake up at either 2 or 4
Me
a.m.
neither.
I love hot baths, not cold baths. No. These are not the strategies I use. What I do instead is I teach people how to increase their influence without becoming an influencer. I teach people how to build trust, a reputation, and credibility because, believe it or not, these are the biggest assets that you will have. However, trust, credibility, and a good reputation don't get built overnight. And this is the problem most people have, especially on LinkedIn, because they've been told time and time again that if you show up every day for 6 months, you're going to be rich. And that's a load of bullshit,
Completely.
as we've all seen. I've seen tons of people drink this Kool-Aid and then give up because they were miserable, completely burned out. They were so far from meeting their financial goals they didn't even want to talk about that topic, and all because some bro told them that all you have to do is post on
Yes.
social media and you'll have everything you want. And so, no, that is not enough. And you have to be good at what you do. You have to have an actual skill because the era when someone on the internet told me I could get rich and I believed them is finally starting to die out. And people will question your expertise. Um, they will check your background before paying you anything. And it's getting harder and harder to get people to buy services or products that are half-assed. I mean, I've had 3 clients in a row book strategy sessions with me or buy larger packages, and every single one of them told me a variation of, I found you on LinkedIn, but then I subscribed to your email list, and through your emails, I realized you're an actual expert. So, what this told me was that people are beginning to be skeptical because anyone can say, I have a successful business and I can teach you how to have one too on LinkedIn. But if you don't find a way, a channel, a medium, whatever you want to call it, to actually demonstrate that expertise, people will scroll past you and that's it. I mean, there's getting attention on LinkedIn, and then there's retaining attention in a completely different medium where you can build actual trust and credibility.
Totally agree with you on all of that. And then there's also not just sitting back and waiting people to come to you, which is how, like you said, people are told post content and you'll get rich. Nah, that's not the game
Sure you
anymore at
will.
all. I mean, I do help people on social media. LinkedIn is the main one, but my goal, and I tell this to all my clients, my goal is to get your connections off the platform. Let's get them on your
Exactly.
email list.
Don't build your
Yeah,
house
let's
on
get
rented
them on
land.
your long-term channels. Let's get them over on your blog. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to your email, right?
Yep. I mean, look at what's happening with TikTok right now. They're banning it in the US. Most likely. It's not fully decided yet, but it's most likely to happen. And there are people whose entire livelihood is tied to
Mhm.
that channel. I hope they decided to pivot and at least open an Instagram account in the meantime because there has been talk of a LinkedIn ban for years now. So essentially they have no excuse for not having a plan B. But if you think that social media fame is something that guarantees you wealth for years to come, you're going to have a very rude awakening. You're not going to
Well,
like
that's
that.
what I always
And that's true, especially in
Yes, and
B2B.
that's what I always tell people because obviously I'm obviously in love with social media. It's what I help do, but at the same time, my like I said, my goal is to get them off there because I'm always reminding people. I just had this conversation earlier with someone. We were talking about. She's like, because I recommend people have a main and then you have a secondary for sure. Because I mean, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? Facebook and Instagram were down. So that was gone. But then even 2 years ago, remember, I don't know if you remember this, but when LinkedIn and Facebook and all went down the same day, same time. Remember that? I mean,
Yeah.
everybody freaked
Yeah.
out, right? And I'm just sitting over there. I immediately went to my email and sent an email list out to my list that said, "This is
Exactly.
why we tell you get them on your list." And I'm very guilty. I was a late adopter of email. I hated email for so long, and I just couldn't. For me, I hated it so bad I didn't want to do it. But 2 years ago, it was right about the time that both of them went down. I'm like, I got to do something different.
Yep.
But I was just what I was talking to someone about earlier today, and she's like, "Well, I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook," and I'm like, "You realize they're owned by the same person, right? And that if one goes down, both goes down." So again, even when I'm focusing people, it's like making sure they're on independent platforms because I have another friend, she's on Threads, Insta, and Facebook, and I said, if you lose your Meta account, you're screwed.
Yep.
So
And there's also something people don't necessarily see easily, that when you're on social media, any platform, there's always an algorithm between you and your audience. And the thing that almost everyone knows is that you are not able to reach your entire audience with a single post. It's because of the algorithm, it's because they don't log in when you post, and so on. There are countless of reasons. However, what email can do for you that no social media platform can is allow you to select the people who won't see a message. For instance, if you want to pitch your services to your audience and you post it on social media, a lot of your existing clients are going to see it. For them, it's spam because they already bought, they don't need to see that product again. Whereas when you send an email to pitch a product, you can simply filter out the people who have already bought it. And this makes for more natural communication. Everything is more streamlined, and people only get what they're supposed to see, what's new to them, or what's interesting to them. And this is such an underrated perk of email. Now, I understand why it's harder to do it in B2C, especially if you're a B2C creator, then okay, social media is going to be your main thing. Email doesn't make that much sense, although I could see it work in B2C. But in B2B, you have no excuse not to have an email
true,
list.
so true. I mean, I'm guilty of being late on it, but hey. But let's get us back
Yeah.
onto this. As we're heading out of the end of our session today, if you've got questions, what questions do you have for Adriana or about building wealth? If you've been struggling with justifying your worth or about income or anything like that, drop your questions into the comments so we can answer those. And while you're doing that, I've already mentioned her newsletter. That's her lovely gift for you guys today. And it is a gift. It's so value loaded. Full time reader here. I can talk about this all day long. But you guys, seriously, we're going to be dropping it in the comments. Adriana, why don't you tell them one reason they should be on your list?
Well, thank you, Heidi. You're very kind, and I could say the same about your newsletter. I'm subscribed to a lot of newsletters, but I don't read all of them. I read yours though because, well, we obviously see eye to eye on many things, and you make me dream of Portugal and going back to Portugal again. And whenever I see your name in my inbox, I immediately think of Portugal. Uh, so, uh, right, you asked me about my newsletter, right? It's something I started as a passion project. I already mentioned I had an agency, but I wanted a place where I could write in my own name, not under an agency name. And I wanted to write about the things that mattered to me. I knew that there are people out there who um, for whom these things matter as well. And turns out that I was right. I'm super happy and grateful that I found a crowd who stands firmly against bro hacks and hustle culture and hacking your way to wealth and all that. And they are usually people who have been screwed by a bro at some point and have finally understood that you need to build foundational marketing. You need to have an actual strategy. You can't just cobble together a few hacks and call it a day. You have a business. That's not the way it works. And um, my main goal to with this newsletter is to make sure that every single issue helps my readers achieve something. My sign off is here to make you think, because in the end, that's my overarching goal. In a way, I know that you can't send an email to a few thousand people and expect what you advise them to be a great fit for everyone, but I hope I at least give them something to think about
Well,
every
I
week.
can say you do for me because I definitely leave with, I didn't think of it that way. Okay, okay, gotcha. Or I'm just nodding all the way through the whole way. Yep, yep, yep.
Yep, preach.
Yep. Beth says, great discussion. I feel so validated and unapologetic after about having a desire to earn a good income for no other reason than I want to. High five on that one,
Yeah,
Beth.
that's the spirit.
So for everyone, we will be dropping the link in the comments for Adriana's newsletter. Make sure you get on it. If you don't see the link for any reason, either switch the comments from relevant to recent, or send me a DM and we'll make sure you get it. And Adriana, what is one final thought you'd like to leave our audience with today about not justifying what they want?
Ask yourself why do you feel the need to justify what you want? It may not be an easy question to answer. It may be a tad painful, maybe, depending on your background and how deep you're willing to dig. Uh, but it will for sure unearth some valuable gems, and it will tell you that most of the reasons you tell yourself about having to justify your need for more money, more revenue, more financial safety are bollocks. So do
Nice.
that. What about you, Heidi? Any final thoughts?
Just own it. It's, and I know that's easier said than done because I've been there myself, but really just stop apologizing for what you want. I mean, I just see it all the time, and it's just stop. You don't need to apologize to other people. You don't need to justify who you are, what you want. Just let it go, guys. Just be yourselves and quit letting what other people think and get in your way. Just let their thought, it doesn't matter. Just get out of your own way with that at the end of the day. But yeah, you got me on that one. I hadn't thought of anything. Good one. Good one. All right.
I didn't mean to do that, but hey, it went well. I wouldn't have realized it if you hadn't said it.
I love it. I love it when I do love it when somebody surprises me on it. It was like, oh, I wasn't prepared for that one. Because I'm so into making sure you look good that I don't really, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's like, oh, I don't know what I would say in this case. But all right, everyone.
It's the curse of
Yeah,
being a
thank you
host,
so
right?
much, Adriana, for joining us, shared all this gold with us, and to our audience for bringing your energy, your questions, your thoughts. You guys help us make all this what it is. And then next week, guys, I have copywriter Lisa May Hubby joining us. She is going to share her advice on how to be the solution, the painkiller to your ideal client's problems. So we're going to be dropping that show out tomorrow. Make sure you click attending here on LinkedIn, add it to your calendar, or you can watch on YouTube. And for those of you who couldn't join us live, please add your comments, your questions with the hashtag replay into the comments, and we will pop by to answer them. And see you guys next week, same time, same place.